These are the Staedtler Mars Lumograph Black pencils. They are part carbon and part graphite, and they are designed to get much darker tones with more of a matte finish. The carbon also helps minimize a lot of the shine issues that graphite pencils have. And these are the Derwent Graphic graphite pencils. I've used them for the entire time I've been drawing. They are great pencils, but as with all graphite, they have a lot of shine issues, and it can be tough to get good deep dark tones. But how will these two look side by side? In today's video I'll be drawing half the portrait using just the graphite pencils and the other half using just the carbon pencils. This will show you how they look next to each other, and give you a good look at what you can achieve with them. I'll be drawing the actress Lupita Nyong'o, and I'm doing the graphite side first. I work through the background and hair before moving on to the eyebrow. I build up the details and layers, then use my mechanical erasers for the highlights. You can see here the pencils blend really smoothly. Graphite is such a great medium. It's basic and simple but can have stunning results. It's good for beginners and good for experts. It's the first one I really got into and has always been one of my favorites, as well as being the one I get my best results with. But the shine can end up being really annoying, and the lack of deep dark tones can sometimes feel quite limiting when you're trying to take your work to the next level. There are a few solutions to this. I've seen some people use charcoal with graphite, but I've seen some people saying they don't always mix well together. I've also seen people using black coloring pencils. I've never tried this with graphite, but I want to give it a go in future. But the solution I settled on is carbon pencils. Or part carbon part graphite to be specific. They sort of function like a halfway point between graphite and charcoal, and they are great at helping with contrast and with the quality of dark tones in your work. I chose this photo due to its symmetry, making the half and half element very easy to organize, but also because of the really nice dark tones throughout. Lupita Nyong'o has very dark skin, and the contrast in this photo will really help to show off the difference in these pencils. Plus it's just a very high quality photo with a lot of skin texture details to aim for, which is always fun. I usually try to avoid photos that are head-on face shots. I tend to find them a bit boring and a little lifeless. But for the purpose of this video it was really helpful to have a photo that I could easily split down the middle without the image looking too one-sided. I'm really pleased with how the eye went. I'm actually wondering if the shine of the graphite helped make the eye look more realistic by giving it a glassy shine. Maybe I'll test that out in the future. I also drew some of her skin in a circular motion to help give extra detail in the more textured areas. This drawing was a lot of fun to do, and from very early on it started to feel like one of the best I've ever done. It went pretty smoothly all in all. I didn't have too many problems, and I really enjoyed trying to get as much detail as I could. I do the skin texture by doing dotted highlights with a mechanical eraser, then doing the tiny darker details with a pencil, and blending them subtly so they're not too obvious. I then repeat this process to build up the layers of detail. It takes a while, but the effect it gives can be amazing. Her jaw was one of the darkest areas, but the graphite did a great job. It's been years since I did anything using just graphite, and I think the results looked great. The lips were tricky. There were a lot of fiddly details and thin lighting areas to get right. My thin blending stump is a lifesaver for areas like this. The texture on the chin was done the same way as on the cheek. I really think the skin texture details throughout the drawing really add something to it all. And the last area for the graphite is the neck. I just needed the darkest tone I could get. It's somewhat therapeutic trying to get the tone as smooth as I can. If you rush big block areas, it's very easy to make them look patchy. Also, a round of applause for my tiny 9B pencil that just about managed to hold on to the very end. So here we have the finished graphite side. I'm really happy with this, and I'm pleased with the level of detail I got. But as we introduce the Staedtlers, you can see the graphite shine showing up. This shine is what the Staedtlers are designed to help minimize. So let's see how they do. The Staedtlers were at a little disadvantage. My graphite pencils range from 4H to 9B, whereas my pack of Staedtlers only have 2B, 4B, 6B and 8B pencils. So I'm a little limited with my lighter tones, but fortunately there aren't that many pale light tones in this image, so it should be okay. As you can see already, the mid-tones match up really nicely between the two pencils. The Staedtlers work exactly the same as graphite pencils. They are just as easy to use and just as easy to blend, although they feel a little rough on the page compared to the graphite pencils. But it didn't feel that bad. The big difference is the dark tones. Due to the pencils being part carbon, they are able to go darker, and they do a great job of limiting the shine you get with graphite. But as you can see, they look really good alongside the standard graphite. Because they are part carbon, the lead feels a little softer than graphite pencils. I'm a bit more cautious when I sharpen them, but they are still sturdy enough to get a good sharp point. The Staedtlers don't feel quite as smooth as the graphite pencils, but they are still very comfortable to use, and the matte finish has such a nice look. I'm really happy with how the details on the eyes turned out. I feel like there are a lot of chances for mistakes when drawing eyes. The chin area is where we really start to see the difference between these pencils. Notice how the Staedtlers stand out more and help create more contrast. Good contrast can be so important in portrait drawing. It can add so much depth and quality to an image. And these pencils do a great job of helping you achieve those tones. I'm really pleased with how well these pencils matched up with each other in certain areas. The last few dark areas I've got to work on should really show the difference between these pencils. As I give both sides a once over to make sure the two halves fit together nicely, you can start to see it all take shape. And here's the finished drawing. The difference between the pencils really shows in the darker areas, even from the head-on angle. But here's that graphite shine I mentioned. You can see from this angle that the glare is so much more noticeable on the graphite side than on the carbon side. The Staedtlers don't eliminate the shine problem entirely. They are more of a halfway between graphite and charcoal, but the difference is clear as day. So considering I've been using both of these pencils together for years now, my final thoughts are exactly what I thought they'd be. Both sets of pencils are amazing. They look great and they are easy to use, and the results I've been getting when using them together have been one of the big things that reinvigorated my love of art. But from a head-to-head perspective, the visual differences can't be denied. The Staedtler Mars Lumograph Black pencils are so much better at achieving those dark tones, and they do a great job of reducing the graphite shine issue. So my final opinion is that for the best results, a combination of these two pencils is about as good as I can get. But wait, what's this? We have a new challenger. The Faber-Castell Pit Graphite Matte Pencils. These pencils seem to be designed for the same purpose as the Staedtlers. Join me a little later in the year to see how they do head to head. And with that being said, thanks for watching. And if you've made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe to see more art in the future.